Welcome back, everyone, to the Opinionation Podcast. I am your host, King Daddy. Today's topic is going to be about government control of our lives. One of the things that I hate about the government is that they want to control every aspect of your life. Whether or not they want to control it to tax it, or whether or not they want to control it because those who are in our government do not believe the same way as you, they still want to control you. I am a firm advocate and have been for quite a while in libertarianism. Now, I am not a complete and full-blown libertarian. They do have a few things that I'm a little iffy on, but for the most part, I am an advocate for libertarianism. I believe in the lack of governmental control of our lives and the being able to take back what's ours and once again make it ours. I don't believe in paying all these heavy taxes for things that we don't need or don't want. Regardless of what some of you think on my podcast from last time, I am not an advocate for the border wall, but I am an advocate for border control. And I'm going to start there with libertarianism, because one of the things that the libertarians believe is that everyone should have a path to citizenship. And the path should not be difficult. I'm not saying that we should let everybody in, because I don't think we should. I think we should stop people from just coming into the country whenever they want to. But we need to find a way to separate these people and get the ones who are coming here for the right reason on a path to citizenship, so that they can do what they need to do, so that they can become citizens of this country and continue the dream of the melting pot that was started way back when. I believe in that. We are a country made up of immigrants. We are a country made up of a diverse group of people from everywhere. And we still need to be that, but we need to find a way to do it in such a way where it's done correctly. Now, I don't know all the answers to it. I just believe that we need to find a path to citizenship. Also, another thing that, the libertarians believe is healthcare. Again, I'm not an advocate for, Medicare for everyone or socialized health care, but I am a firm believer that everybody should have health care and everybody should be able to purchase affordable health care, and that health care does not always have to come through your employer, that health care could be given at a better rate if it were opened back up to us on the free marketplace, where we could go out and actually purchase health care, have the health care companies compete with one another for our business, the hospitals and the doctor's offices compete for our business, and we be able to choose the health care that is right for us and our families. We do not have to have a socialized health care or a government-controlled health care system in order to make that happen. So there are a lot of things that kind of encompass that. And one of those beliefs that I also have, that the libertarians believe, is a free marketplace for consumerism. Capitalism is what's made us. Capitalism is what has taken this country and pushed it forward and made it what it is today. But unfortunately, you have those out there who believe that capitalism is evil, that there are people out there who have entirely too much money, and to a degree, there are people out there who have too much. But if those people who have too much opened up a business, worked hard, created what they have, it's theirs. They deserve it. Capitalism is a staple in this country that has made it great. Why do we want to take capitalism away? Another thing about libertarians is they talk about, marriage equality. Now, I am not a person who really cares too much for the homosexual lifestyle, but I do know homosexuals. I have homosexuals that are friends of mine. And I believe that if they want to marry each other, whether I personally disagree with it or not, they're not hurting me. They're not hurting you. And as long as they keep their flamboyancy down and keep their private life private, they have the right to do what they want to do. The government does not need to dictate who can or cannot marry whoever. The government also does not have the right to dictate what we do with our bodies. The government does not have the right to tell us that we can't have an abortion if we want one. Now, I am not a pro-lifer or a pro-choicer. I believe that there are circumstances that warrant both. If it is your personal conviction or your religious conviction to not have an abortion, don't have one. But if you have a circumstance that has happened to you, that is between you, your family, and your physician. The government, the Supreme Court, protesters, no one has the right to interfere in that or decide whether or not you should be able to allow to have an abortion. We should also be able to do whatever we want to with our property. You know, the government likes to step in and tell us, well, you can't put that there because you're only allowed to have one. Like when we built this house, for example, has to be on 1 acre of land. Well, what if you only have I'll give you an example. When we separated this land, my father-in-law, who owned the property to begin with, we separated off the land, and when we took it down to the courthouse, the surveyor had accidentally only given him 0.96 acres, not a full acre. So we ended up having to have the whole thing redrawn to make sure that he had exactly an acre. Is that really anybody's business? He had 0.96 acres and it had a house on it. Did we need to shrink our property so that he could have exactly an acre because the government told us we had to? It's not the government's land, it's my land. It's his land. But they want to dictate and waste resources trying to tell us what we can do with our fucking property. And it's my property. I mean, I consider that to be outright bullshit. And the environment. I don't want to breathe dirty air. And I believe that there is ways to clean up the environment without outlawing every form of energy that can be used to sustain this country for hundreds of years to come if we find a way to responsibly use it. Not only fiscally responsible, but environmentally responsible ways to use the resources that we have out there to be able to heat our homes, work our factories, cool our homes, cool our businesses. The government wants to get in there and regulate every little tiny thing that we do. And that is one of the things that I believe, as well as libertarians believe, that there is so much that the government interferes with that they have no right interfering with, and they're so simple. Do we really need them involving themselves in our everyday shit like that? I don't believe we do. Another thing that the government has totally clusterfucked, and that is our school system. The public school system is an absolute disgrace. You have neighborhood schools and boundaries drawn up. You have no freedom of choice for where you want to send your children to school. Unless you want to pay for a private school and send them there, you have to go to the school that's in your assigned district. But what if the school that's in your assigned district don't offer the program that your child wants to take? Then you have to jump through hoops to try to get them there when there should be a little bit more choice in education. Why can't you turn the education back over to the states and keep the federal government out of it and make education a possibility for every child to have a decent education? I don't particularly like spending my federal tax dollars for education. I don't have any children in school. But the individual states could take back over the school and could do way more with them than the federal government ever has. Because right now, you have schools that are in sections of towns where the violence is so horrible that the teachers can't teach, if they can even get teachers in the classrooms at all. But yet, the federal government controls the schools, but each individual state has different pay grades for the teachers, and there's something screwed up about that, and it needs to be fixed. Our educational system is messed up. So basically what we need to figure out a way to do is get the government out of our lives so much, because, I'm an adult. As an adult individual, I know what's right and I know what's wrong. Why can't I be allowed to exercise that right of knowing and do what I know is right? There are people out there who do what's wrong and they do it on purpose, and those people should be punished. But there are also people out there who are doing what's right, but the government is saying that it's wrong. They're getting incarcerated, they're getting fined, they're getting overtaxed, and they're getting in trouble for things that shouldn't really be a policy of any kind in the first place. Government is interfering in our ability to be human beings, because all we basically are is pawns of their system. We are chess pieces in the game that they're sitting up there in Washington right now playing against each other. And they're not hurting each other. They're getting their paychecks. They're getting their long-term 30-year appointments to lifetime appointments to the Supreme Court, elected for 30 years to Congress. They're getting theirs. We're not getting ours, and we should have the expectation that ours is more important than theirs, because like I said in the last podcast, we're who they represent. But are they really representing us? I don't believe they are. All they're doing is figuring out new ways to tax us. Talking about taxes, marijuana. I'm not a marijuana smoker, but I know people who are marijuana smokers. I know some really good people who are marijuana smokers, who work hard every day. And where you would like to come home and have a glass of wine or a rum and coke, they like to come home and smoke a bowl. That does not make them a criminal. But yet our federal government system criminalizes that activity. There's 23 states who have legalized marijuana, 10 states who have legalized marijuana, 23 states who have legalized medical marijuana. But across the board, from a federal standpoint, marijuana is illegal. And it's not hurting anyone. But just because the government can't figure out a way to utilize it and make money off of it and profit from it. I mean, they figured it out on alcohol. They figured out how to profit from alcohol. I don't know how many people listening to this today are outside of North Carolina. But here in North Carolina, we have the alcohol, I don't even know what ABC stands for, Alcohol Control Board, some shit like that. So we have government liquor stores that you go in and purchase alcohol from. Now, you can still buy beer and wine and, other forms of alcohol at the grocery store or whatever, but hard liquor, you have to go to a government-owned, state-sponsored ABC store to purchase your alcohol. They have found a way to take a substance that they once made illegal, and they figured out a way to tax it and sell it and make a profit from it. But yet, they won't let my friends smoke a joint when they get home from work, because that's illegal. Here in North Carolina, marijuana possession is illegal. And I don't understand it. But the main reason is because the government is in control of too much of our shit. We don't have the right. We're supposed to be a free country, but yet we don't have the right to do the things that we want to do, even if the things that we want to do aren't hurting another soul. If we want to smoke pot, if we want to drink liquor, if we want to smoke cigarettes, if we want to smoke cigars, if we want to chew tobacco or do whatever the hell it is that people do, they should have the right to be able to do it, because guess what? Just like abortion, it's your body. Put it in it. If you don't value your own health, why does the government give a shit? The answer is they don't. They give a shit about the revenue that's generated from it. If they can't find a way to gain revenue from it, they're going to try to take it away from you. That is exactly what the government's purpose is right now, is to regulate you to the point where they basically own and control you, because that's what they do. Government is designed to be guidance, to uphold laws, to make new laws, not to basically mentally and spiritually and emotionally harm you with laws that don't matter. They're to, the government's here to keep you from killing each other. You have a law against murder. If you're going to kill somebody, if you're the type person that does not have the self-control and the conscience about yourself not to kill another human being, there are laws against that. But smoking a joint when you get home from work, or having an abortion if you're raped or whatever, that's none of their business. But they're making those things their business. They're involving themselves too much in our lives. And as I'm going to say 3/4 libertarian, I just believe that's wrong. I don't want the government telling me what I can and cannot do with my body and my property. I do not want the government telling me that if I am a law-abiding citizen, if I do what I'm supposed to do and follow the rules of right and wrong, that I can't own a gun to protect myself. It's not their right, because I've not done anything wrong. You've not done anything wrong. Well, some of you may have. But for the most part, we're just people who are living our lives, working our jobs, trying to make a living, doing what we do, while we're in the process of being taxed to death. We can't bring home our entire paycheck because they're using our money for bullshit that we don't even agree with most of the time. And we may as well be under a dictatorship. We don't have one dictator. We have an entire Washington full of dictators that are up there telling us what to do with our stuff. And I will reiterate, I don't believe they have the right to do this. There's got to be another way. Government is too large, and I will use a Southern expression to describe government. Government has become too big for its britches. And they overshadow every nook and cranny of every single life, to the point of the fact that I don't know how you feel, but I feel smothered. I feel smothered by my own government because they don't allow me to do what I would want to do as a person. I don't want to smoke pot, but I tell you what, if I wanted to, I damn sure should be able to. I should be able to walk into a marijuana dispensary and I should be able to purchase medicinal marijuana or recreational marijuana just like they do alcohol if I felt like it. If I were a woman and I found myself pregnant and I were the type person who felt like I could have an abortion and live with myself, I should be able to have one. without government control. This is King Daddy for the Opinionation Podcast, telling you to have a good day. We can be found at opinionation84@gmail.com. And this podcast can be heard on all the regular places where podcasts are heard. And if you would like, you can also find us at qcking.libsyn.com. Thank you and have a wonderful day.